Those attacks are just examples of the violence that has President Bush rethinking his Iraq policy and now turning to his father's former advisors for help. NBC's chief foreign affairs correspondent Andrea Mitchell has that story.
After 6 years of rejecting advice from members of his father's foreign policy team, the president is now calling them off the bench. Former Secretary of State James Baker to craft an exit strategy from Iraq. His father's CIA director Bob Gates to replace Don Rumsfeld at the Pentagon. The president and Gates first met to discuss the job only a week ago.
It took me a while to be able to sit down and visit with him, and I did. And I found him to be of like mind.
A remarkable turnaround. Less than 3 months ago, the president bristled when Brian Williams asked if he was seeking his father's advice.
He understands what it means to be president. He understands I oftentimes have information that he doesn't have.
There have been tensions. Gates, who had dinner with the president's father in Texas last night, has been sharply critical of the way the Pentagon has run the war. So has Gates' mentor, Brent Scowcroft, the first President Bush's national security advisor, who was banned from this White House for opposing the Iraq War.
W. and Karl Rove came into office wanting to use the father as a reverse playbook, and their whole foreign policy is a rebuke to the father's foreign policy.
Colin Powell, more comfortable with Bush 1 than Bush 2, was forced out as Secretary of State. But the war didn't go as planned, so the president is reverting to his father's foreign policy team. More pragmatic, less ideological.
I think it's the end of the kind of missionary spirit of George W. Bush and the resurgence of the calm kind of stability arguments of George Herbert Walker Bush.
As the president turns to his father's advisors, the question now is, can they still create a democratic Iraq, or is it too late?
I doubt any combination of persons can turn it around in a sense that it's going to produce some startling success, or as the president keeps saying, victory.
Officials say their best hope is to stabilize Iraq and call it a success. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.